This one mind instantly activates health and happiness. Welcome, everybody. It's Jason Barlow, RMT. I'm here as your therapist and as your coach to help you transform stress, tension, and pain into health, happiness, and vitality. Quote of the week for you this week is, "Spread love everywhere you go. Let no one ever come to you without leaving happier." And that was from Mother Theresa. What a beautiful quote that is. I remember hearing that in the Catholic schools locally when I was helping out one day in the schools with my sons. Joyful times. I miss those times, to be honest. My eldest son has just turned 17 today. And so as we go through those cycles, especially as a parent, where we see our kids go from baby stage, which is very easy to fall in love, right? We have that, just this strong wish for them to be safe and protected and happy and healthy. How do we transition when we have more challenges in our life, when we have difficult people in our life, when our baby becomes a 17-year-old that wants to go his own way more and more and spread his wings and drive further and go into the mountains and hang out later and so on and so forth? How do we expand that love? And what is that actually doing for us on a physiological level? That's essentially what I wanted to share with you today. I remember a few years ago being on this meditation retreat, and the retreat alone was just spectacular. And I have that experience every time I go and do it, because when you actually take time to fully immerse yourself in understanding your mind, exploring your mind, and actually deepening your mind's experience of peace and happiness, it's remarkable. I honestly feel as though I've had a 2-week vacation from going on a 2-day meditation retreat. And especially if that involves doing some form of silent portion of that retreat. I just truly find myself, with my years of experience in meditation, I feel very rejuvenated doing that. But I remember on this meditation retreat, I'd asked this gentleman, because one of my wishes is I'd love to go to Tibet, the origins of, obviously Tibet, India, the origins of Buddhism. So I asked this fellow who'd been to Tibet a few years ago, what was your experience like? And his summary was this, and it's always stayed with me. He says, the people there, they smile with their whole body. Just imagine that for a moment. Imagine you smiling with your whole body. All that's emanating from every pore of your body and every feeling that you have is surrounded by this beautiful mind of happiness, which is born from this pure mind of love. And that's essentially what Mother Theresa was getting at with this quote, is spread love everywhere you go. Let no one ever come to you without leaving happier. And let me expand on what love actually is. So this is a definition from Geshe Kelsang Gyatso, a Tibetan Buddhist master. In his great book, by the way, I highly recommend, How to Transform Your Life. Stay to the end, I'll show you how you can get a free copy as well. And it's also down below in the comments for those of you listening in. And in Buddhism, they define love as a virtuous mind that is motivated by equanimity and that wishes for others to be happy. So let's break that down. Love is a virtuous mind, so that is only brings goodness into your mind. I mean, just ask yourself, do you want goodness in your life or do you want badness in your life? And if you want more goodness, then listen to what I'm sharing with you. Because in all honesty, 20 years in my industry and helping people with their stress, tension, and pain, this is the number one solution. That's why in my personal book that I've just released, the 15-step playbook for pain relief, I talk about the mind right off the bat. Because to me, you've got to plunge headfirst into dealing with your health and happiness. Because for as long as you go for massages and depend upon a chiropractor and you have physical therapy and you get some needling done and you go get a better job and you get a different partner and you get more money and you have a different car and you go on the mountains and you go to vacation, those things are great. But they only ever provide you with temporary relief of your pain and your problems. Have you noticed that? Oh. That was me swallowing, going, are people ready to hear this? I wasn't ready to hear it, but I had to hear it. And it's taken me years to think and contemplate and deepen that experience. And so maybe this is just a tiny little seed that's being planted today, and that's perfect. And maybe you listened to what I just said and went, turn off, and that's okay too. Everybody's at different stages. But understand that love is a virtuous mind. It only brings goodness. It is motivated by equanimity, which means what? Equanimity is one of the most beautiful minds that views others as warm, that has a warm and friendly feeling towards others. A warm and friendly feeling towards others. Now you might be like, well, that's easy to do, Jay, if it's a baby, and if it's a puppy, or if it's a kitten, a baby kitten, right? Those are very easy objects of our love. And maybe our partner when we first met them, right? With that pure state of love that we had. Now, oftentimes it's mixed though, and that's the challenge that we face, is our mind is often mixed between love, sincere, pure love, and the mind of attachment. And the mind of attachment is almost opposite to this pure love, because the mind of attachment says, for as long as this kitten, this puppy, this baby, this person, this object is providing me with happiness, then I'll try to do my best to provide them with some happiness and I'll love them. But when they don't, when they're no longer providing us with that happiness that we feel we deserve, then at that time, our mind usually shifts to a little bit more irritation, frustration, and anger. Ooh, careful, because those minds are the ones that pollute us. They're just malfunctions of the mind. And as a result of those malfunctions of the mind, we start to go down a different pathway. And instead of feeling pure love towards these people and objects, instead now we start to actually feel some resentment or aversion or anger or irritation. You just check in your own life if that's applicable for your mind. I'm just sharing this information with you. You can take and choose and chew on it and throw it away, discard it. This is what I found from my experience through Buddhist meditations. So remember, love, pure love, is a virtuous mind, brings only goodness. It is motivated by equanimity. That is, it views others in a very warm and friendly manner. Right? We have this warm and friendly feeling towards all people, all objects, all beings, right? And it wishes for them to be happy. Because very often, again, it's mixed, right? In that love that we currently have, it's mixed with that attachment. That love usually says, well, yeah, great, they're giving me happiness, so I'm going to give them happiness. But when they stop giving me, or that thing stops giving me happiness, then I'm going to start to discard it, right? Think of eating chocolate, drinking wine, drinking beer, having any food. Temporarily it brings us happiness, but it doesn't give us lasting happiness, so eventually then we put it down. Now, if it was really, truly a source of happiness for us, then technically speaking, the more we consume, the more we have, the more happiness we should be experiencing. And if you're like me, who struggled with chocolate addiction for many years, all it ever does is bring us eventually something that we don't want, right? An upset tummy, we feel sick, we don't want to have any more, we feel repelled by the idea of having any more chocolate. What Buddhist teachings are sharing with us is that the more virtuous minds that we have, and love is one of those beautiful, and I would say the very pinnacle, the very top of the pile of virtuous minds, the more that we have of that pure love, not mixed with attachment, but pure love, the more happiness we experience. And we also wish for others naturally. When that mind is active, we want them to be happy, and naturally, we're not even thinking actually too much about our happiness, but naturally, happiness arises in our mind. It's a very fascinating mechanism, but I implore you to try it and experiment and observe what happens. Because when you are with that baby or that kitten or that puppy, or you imagine being, with any one of those objects, and you just imagine, right, how cute, how precious, you want them to be happy, you want them to be protected. What comes up in your mind? You're thinking about them and about protecting them, about the wish for them to be happy all the time. And that is what we call this pure state of love. But just check, right? Very often it's mixed with attachment. It's mixed with attachment. And attachment says, attachment basically allows us or teaches us to focus on the good qualities of that person or object, because we believe when we do that it's just going to give us happiness and nothing else. But we'll find that for as long as we have that mind towards that person or object, when that person or object doesn't fulfill us anymore, our mind shifts away from pure love to just attachment to very quickly spirals to the mind of irritation, resentment, and frustration. So just check. Take that away. I can go deeper on this, but I'm going to stop there. So just remember, the quote of the week is, wait for it to come up on the screen. The quote of the week is, spread love everywhere you go. Let no one ever come to you without leaving happier. Try that for the rest of your day and see what plays out. You've got to taste and experiment to know what results are coming back from you. The last thing to finish with is that when you have these pure minds of love, what it does immediately is it activates healing, health, and happiness in your body. Because your body is made up of trillions of cells, and they're instantly communicating. The fastest internet possible. They're instantly communicating and radiating. And that's what those Tibetan people were doing. They're smiling with their whole bodies. They're radiating love. And it's the same for us, even in Western world, that the more love that we have, the more we're radiating that outwards, the more healing, more health, more happiness that we will actually experience. I hope you found that a benefit. Thank you for joining me. Remember, go get my free digital book. You just have to go to jasonbarlowrmt.com, fill out an email, leave me your email. I'll fire this digital copy off to you. You can go get a paperback if you wish from Amazon. Also, don't forget you can download a free digital copy of this book, which goes into more depth about the minds of love and about the minds of attachment and how to distinguish between the two. And obviously you want one more than the other. That's my recommendation. That's been my experience. Go to howtotyl.com and you can download a free digital copy of this book. And I'm going to shut off right there. Remember, you're one massage away, and your muscle health is my number one priority. I'm here to serve you. So any questions or comments you have, please leave them below, and we'll see you guys tomorrow.